Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. The movie begins with a flashback, a city filled with fumes, and two robbers entering a building with their faces covered, guns in their hands, and shooting anyone who gets in their way. They eventually reach a room where a man is holding a large amount of money, shoot him, and take the entire sum. Next, the two robbers are conversing. One tells the other to put the money in the safe and keep his head down. The other, a small boy, accepts and they proceed. At a restaurant with hip-hop music playing, a man informs his boss that Greg has arrived. When boss asks the man, "What are all the kids doing here?" the other responds, "They're having a prom party." This man meets Greg, and tells him that he knows he is stealing from him, and his only punishment is death. Next, a young kid is thrown out of the club, and then he tells he has friends inside and he can offer him money. When the boy gets home, he finds the other man sitting with whom he has stolen the money. He asks the other man for a beer. Meanwhile, two men arrive and ask about the stolen money. After being not able to find the money, they start beating him. And one of them eventually shoots the kid Chance mercilessly. After that, we witness the boss firing on the target board. When a man approaches him with the news that he has located a new supplier, he asks, "Can you meet her tonight?" The boss responds he has to clean his house because the neighbor's child messed it up, so tomorrow. A drug dealer is giving a customer some stuff, and suddenly a cop arrives and catches him. Cop addresses himself as Detective Muntz when he receives a call. He remarks, "Who wanted you dead?" observing the child's lifeless body. Next, a man is catching a fish and bringing it into the kitchen, while coughing and spitting blood. Suddenly, Swilly and another man who are searching for him arrive at his house. The other man is none other than Detective Muntz, who introduces himself and tells Mr. Wilson that it was very difficult to find him. Mr. Wilson responds, "When a man disappears, it often indicates that he doesn't want to be found." He inquires the investigator and asks him if he is here to arrest him. His answer is negative, but the news he has is even worse. Detective Muntz tells him that he heard a lot about him as a cop. Next, we see the boss gets a call from someone telling him about the young kid. Mr. Wilson goes to the mortuary to ascertain whether it's his son and asks who killed his son. Detective Muntz says he's working on it. At the cremation of Chance, Wilson talks to Swilly and says he hoped if he could stop him from leaving the house, then things would be different. When Wilson notices Charlotte in the churchyard, he approaches her and asks if she knows his son. She responds he used to visit casino to play cards, and she works there, and she knows that Wilson and Chance have not spoken to each other for years. The boss receives a call from one of his employees, informing him that Chance was slain the previous night. Boss orders him to investigate the boy's killer as thoroughly as possible. When Wilson approaches Smiley with a rifle and a few other items, Smiley asks him what he's going to do. Wilson borrows a truck from Smiley, and leaves the place with a duffel bag, as he knows how the city cops are, and he wants justice for Chance. A man presents Karina as a new supplier for their company. The boss informs her they recently parted ways with their longtime supplier, and adds that he has heard nothing but positive things about her family. Next, we see Wilson sitting in a cafe, and is visualizing Chance in another boy. Ashley, an old friend, approaches him, and inquires about his son. Wilson tells her that he is going to find the murderer and wants justice for his son. He also asks if she could help him in finding information about the murderer. While walking on a road, he meets a man who tells him that Jinx is waiting for you. Jinx is a criminal who was behind bars for several years, and blames Wilson for that. Wilson goes from there. Next, the landlord asks Wilson why he wants the room, to which he responds that it was his son who was slain in that room. Upon entering the room, he notices a picture of his wife and son. He recalls the day when Chance left his house, despite his several attempts to stop him, telling him that the city will transform and devour him. But Chance didn't listen, and he won't stop as there is no life in the area where they were living, and it would be better for him to relocate to the city. Wilson wakes up after seeing his son's nightmare, and suddenly, his son's phone rings. Next, a group of men are lounging around and having a good time. Among them is Chance's murderer. Suddenly, he receives a call from Chance's phone. It's Chance's father calling to ask about the boy, but he doesn't respond. Wilson goes to the casino, where he meets Charlotte, and asks her to tell him whatever she knows about his son. She informs him that his kid had a tendency of playing cards, and spending all the money on it, even when it was not with him, and he was getting threat calls from the person whose money he used for playing cards. He asks about Desmond Packard. She tells him that Chance used to get money from him, and everyone in the area has negative things to say about his son. With that, she bids farewell and leaves. Wilson then meets a man who has known him for a very long time. When he inquires about Desmond Packard, he tells that he is Augustino Finadair's child, Finn abandoned him due to his poor behavior. He tells that he spends time at Razor Room. Next, we see Finn, telling Desmond that he has done everything to give him a good life, but he wants him to stop acting foolish every time. Finn asks him to cut ties with his criminal companions, treat others the way you want to be treated, and pursue good deeds. Desmond asserts that he is innocent. Next, Wilson goes to the club and shows his police ID, and the guard asks him to follow, and leads him to Desmond, who asks Wilson where he is from and what he wants to talk about, to which Wilson responds he isn't from here, and if he knows his son Chance. Wilson claims to have seen Desmond's number as a last dial number in his son's phone, but Desmond responds that he doesn't know. Wilson questions if he killed his son. He responds, "It would be best for you to leave my city as soon as possible, since there's a chance you may get harmed." Wilson drops him to the ground, breaking his nose, taking his gun with him. Wilson meets Detective Muntz and gives him the revolver he had seized from Desmond. He asks Muntz to verify if the bullet in the gun matched the one that was in Chance's body. Muntz instructs him not to attempt to behave like a cop, since he is no longer one, and then Wilson leaves the place. Next, Detective Muntz tells Desmond about Wilson giving him his gun to check the ballistics. Desmond asks for his pistol back, but Muntz says no. So Desmond gives him money and tells that he will handle everything. Muntz says he should know where he is living, in exchange for additional money, which he takes and leaves. Muntz calls Finn, and informs him that his son is likely to get into trouble, as he killed Mr. Wilson's son. Jinx is trying to tell Wilson something about Charlotte, but Wilson ignores him. Wilson follows Charlotte to her parents' house, to verify if she took the money. She responds that her intentions were not so bad. She truly loved Chance, and only wanted to get rid from the work she was doing, and get away from the city. He informs her that it's best for her to leave this place, because of her greed. His son died and has left her with this guilt forever. Next, Desmond and his father are having a conversation. His father asks him why he killed that kid. Desmond responds, he knows what he did, Chance is nobody. His father tells him that Wilson was the best cop in the force, and he killed his son. Desmond says that he will take care of things, but his father advises him to do nothing. Wilson sees Chance in a nightmare once more, so he decides to go. Meanwhile, Desmond and his boys arrive at Wilson's house, and look for him everywhere, but they are unable to find him. Suddenly, a car's honk can be heard, and when Desmond looks down, he discovers that his car is on fire. Next, Muntz visits Wilson and tells him about the car incident last night. Wilson clarifies that he heard some car honking, and asks for the ballistics test results. Muntz responds they haven't arrived yet, but he will be the first to know about it. Wilson responds he's going back to his place, because there's nothing left to do. Then Wilson meets Ashley, and confirms he is correct, neither bullet nor the pistol he gave Muntz are on file. Next, Desmond inquires Swilly about Wilson's place. Desmond's whole gang arrives at Wilson's home, but they are unable to find Wilson. One of them goes outside to search. He is hidden in the bushes outside his home, where he shoots one of them down, and grabs his weapon. He then kills the other guys one by one, but the last one shoots him, and confirms Desmond that he is dead. Next, Wilson is on the hospital bed, Swilly and Ashley there to support him, as he has another nightmare, Desmond and his boys abusing his son. Muntz approaches both of them, introduces himself. He questions them whether they had any knowledge of Wilson's incident and who did this. Swilly responds he just heard a gunshot and saw him. Muntz asks for their contact information, and Ashley provides him with her number, and he instructs them to give him a call as soon as Wilson awakens. Muntz updates Desmond about Wilson's condition, and informs that he still has 2 devoted followers who are taking care of him. Finn calls Desmond and tells him that he is sick of constantly encouraging him to do the right thing, and it breaks his heart to talk to him in this way, and he informs him that from now onwards, he is not his son. He tells him that he doesn't have much time left, and asks him to leave immediately. Desmond tells his father's bodyguard that the old man can't handle the business now, and encourages him to approach the supplier for a new manager. Next, Ashley tells Swilly to return home, as he needs to rest now. Meanwhile, the bodyguard talks to the supplier, and asks her to do something for him, and not to tell the boss or Desmond about it. Subsequently, Desmond arrives at Swilly's residence, and expresses his admiration for him for transporting Wilson to the hospital. Desmond inquires about Ashley and her knowledge about the incident. When Swilly assures him she doesn't know anything, Desmond asks, "What about you?" He tells him, "We don't talk to police, we settle it ourselves." After failing to frighten Swilly, he eventually shoots him down. Elsewhere, the bodyguard calls Muntz to seek help, and to send a sizable sum of money to his bank account. In the meantime, Wilson regains consciousness, and tells Ashley that he needs to leave. She responds Swilly went home because he had worked there and was here last night. She also convinces Wilson to stay and rest, but when she receives a call, she is shocked to learn of Swilly's death. Wilson prepares to leave the hospital in order to take revenge. Subsequently, 2 dirty cops attempt to assault Wilson in the hospital parking lot. Then Muntz calls Ashley to check on Wilson. He informs her that he received the results of the ballistics check, but is unable to share them over the phone. Wilson speaks with Muntz and agrees to meet him for the results. Wilson is informed by Ashley that although the DA will remove his son's name from the heist, they want evidence against Augustino Finadere, and this is the only way to obtain it, but to use caution. Next, Wilson tells Muntz as he, Desmond and Finn tried to murder him last night, they are all going to die. Following their altercation, Wilson shoots him dead, and texts Desmond to come to the warehouse. Finn, on the other hand, monitors the webcam feed, and learns about the arrangement that one of his employees made with the supplier. He approaches and murders him. When Desmond arrives at the warehouse, he spots Muntz's car, and approaches it. Wilson attacks him and knocks him down, while Desmond's guy shoots Wilson in the stomach. But Wilson shoots him back, and eventually Desmond begs for his life, but Wilson takes the revenge. He then goes to see Finn, and tells him that he is going to murder him for the kind of person he is, but not because he killed his son, but the world will be a better place without him. After they get into a fight, Finn overpowers wounded Wilson, but Wilson smiles as he had already called 911, knowing that Finn will spend the rest of his life behind bars. Charlotte was hiding in a hotel. She attempts to flee after learning of the arrest and that Chance's murder is being investigated, and instantly starts packing the bag. Suddenly, one of Finn's associates enters, armed with a gun. The end. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. Turn on the notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out.